Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown. Oh, I did not hit record. I'm going to start again, guys, because I love you. I'm sorry. I'm going to hit record, and then we're going to start again because I'm an idiot. That happens sometimes. There's a guest on the screen who's not actually a guest, and that threw me off. I'm blaming him. Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of a Tatooine cantina with a mud sign slapped on it. Commander Hawk is here. Captain Giraffe is here. Commander MC is here. And wait, Eric, didn't you get replaced for a season by Diana Mulder or something? Didn't that happen? Or I feel like that happened. Why are you? Oh, I couldn't hear you guys. There you go. Try that again. I still can't hear you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you motherfucker! One day back, and he's already playing jokes. What a bastard. I love it. Welcome back, sir. It's good to have you. I will kick you off just like Dr. Pulaski. Don't fuck around. I'm kidding.
I will always fuck around.
You will always fuck around. I wrote...
Throw her down an elevator shaft.
Yeah, throw her down an elevator shaft. That's fine. Or just age her 50 years on that weird-ass planet. My cough is still here, as you can hear. I'm sorry. It's going to be here tonight. One day it'll go away in 2263. I wrote no funny intro tonight because this episode, man, but we had a funny intro, so that's out the damn window.
Mm-hmm.
It happens because Eric's back, and that's amazing. How you guys doing? Welcome back. How go things?
They go.
Yeah.
Prepping for Halloween, so busy.
It's gonna be a busy weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Does everybody have their shoes?
Oh come on.
I just wanted to make sure.
Jokes.
I just wanted
You're
to make
making
sure.
fun of me because of my other job where I deal with children who happen to sometimes forget their shoes. That's how it is.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't understand. As a parent, I don't understand how that's possible.
I don't either, but here we are.
I don't have kids, so I don't judge. But that was a fun day.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
in
look at my
the chat, Ernesto has already said, yeah, it's going to be a long one. And I can say, yes, sir, you are indeed right.
Yeah, this is going to be a long one. It's going to be great, though.
It is going to be a good one.
We are changing things up a little bit this week. We really just want to get into this one. So, this week, what happens when Captain Freeman puts Mariner on an easy assignment after she realizes she's trying to get herself killed? What do we finally learn about Beckett's past, and how does it connect to the much wider TNG era of Star Trek? And on a pirate-friendly planet, how does Carol get the intel that she needs? And what TNG character is finally revealed to be the person behind the disappearances of so many non-Federation ships? We're going to break it all down right now. Right this second. That's right. But before we do, I said right now this second. That's a lie. We have to give some love to our amazing friends at Heroes and Villains, who right now you can go onto their website and get an amazing spooky shirt because it's Halloween season, like this one, Zombie Hammer, right? Yes. And you can get 20% off your first order using our code STRANGE. That's right, 20% off your first order. They have a lot of awesome goodies, some new zip ups that MC was wearing last week, a brand new backpack, a wide variety of awesome shirts. Giraffe, I haven't
It just came out with Loki ones.
Yeah, Loki ones. If you're watching Loki, another Ahsoka collection, because you can never have enough Ahsoka stuff. So check them out. 20% off your first order over at Heroes and Villains using the code STRANGE. With that said, let's get right into it, guys. Episode 409, the penultimate episode of Lower Decks Season 4, The Inner Fight. Our roundtable order tonight will go Giraffe, MC, Eric, Hawk, and followed by myself. So
I look forward to saying, what they said.
I mean, it's up to Giraffe and MC. Should we bump Eric to the top since he hasn't been here in 9 weeks? No, you want to keep the order?
No.
Okay, Eric wants to keep the order.
You know that even if I go last, I'll be like, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's true.
Hard same.
Yeah. Welcome to... There is a Jurassic Park joke in here somewhere. I couldn't think of it. But here we go. The cold open sees Boimler, Mariner, and T'Lyn tasked with helping some outpost scientists, because gotta throw some love towards our outpost scientists, study these cute parrot-type alien birds that are actually just total murder machines. It's true. When the barrier all of a sudden malfunctions, Mariner takes it upon herself to fix it, almost getting killed by these I guess they don't eat your eyes, but they make your eyes explode.
They make them pop out.
Yeah, pop out. So Mariner accidentally lets one in after she saves the day and almost dies, and the dude gets his eyes bulged. What did we think about the cold open and Mariner's reckless behavior, Giraffe?
I did not think that episode would go where it went with that cold open at all. I think it was a good cold open. I was not, so absolutely thrilled by it. It's like Planet of the Week and, weird animal. I love everything Jurassic Park, so all the references made me laugh. The field scientists being weirdos. Sorry for all the field scientists, but I'm married to one, so I know they're weirdos. And for real, I liked it. It was fun, but it didn't at all hint me towards the rest of the episode. It was one more episode where Mariner is acting crazy, but it's been a while that she's been doing that, so yeah.
Yep, fair. MC?
First of all, for those who are wondering, yes, I'm trying to figure out how to make those little parrot alien birds
Of course
as
you
plushes.
are.
Of course I am. I've liked the opening because Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time. That being said, while this episode does explain Mariner's issues, I had some problems with the way they started it out, because Mariner taking risks on missions, this has not been the problem that she's been having all season. This is basically just coming up in this one, where she's being specifically reckless to save everybody. Before that, it was not taking things seriously, not wanting to have the promotion. She was being reckless with Quim in Parth Ferengi's heart, whatever. But that is not the same kind of recklessness as this is. That was very much a irresponsible, while this is her trying to be the hero. So there was kind of a disconnect for me, and I would have liked it if they had married those two a bit better. Like maybe instead of what happened in the Ferenginar episode, you still had her do the disrespect in the Moopsie episode, and then when she learns her lesson about how she's gonna take this promotion, then have her turn to just really going into the promotion. And then you see kind of the slow build up to her being this, throw herself into danger just to save everybody else. So
fair.
She did the same thing in the Mugatu episode and they had no problem with it. True.
Yeah, true. But she was also just an ensign at that point, right? I mean, and also in season 3 where she's trying really hard not to do it, but Ramson's being an idiot, so she goes base jumping.
But her acting reckless doesn't have to necessarily mean that because she was an ensign that they were fine with it.
Yeah.
Or I hard agree with MC there. It was a strange, all of a sudden she's 1000% not crazy, but reckless. And it would have made more sense if, say, this was happening around the anniversary of Cito's death, right? Or something like that. It's bringing up these feelings, and then
maybe it is.
Yeah.
But they don't say anything. They just sort of talk about it later. But yeah, the buildup was 0 to 100 in this episode. It was just straight away. She was just oh, cool. The beginning was funny. I love Jurassic Park as well, everyone here. And anytime you have a small creature that's terrifyingly cute and terrifying, it's it makes it better. Plus the eyes glowing. It's a perfect Halloween.
I kind of want it to eat the eyes so that it and Moopsie can use all parts of the
you need
the animal.
You need a thing that when they get closer to each other, they can talk to each other. You got to do that.
It's using every part of the animal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Respecting.
Yeah. Other than that, it was fun. It it didn't seem. I feel like this whole season hasn't been building up to this moment, and that's weird. Like, I should have we should have seen her like degrade more and more as it's gone on. But yeah, like MC said, you haven't really seen it.
Fair. Hawk.
This had probably my favorite sight gag of the episode. Her, everybody else trying to put on poison and toxin suits and that, and her grabbing a spanner and a tin pan and running across the yard, bang, 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 bang. How could you not love that?
She was Jeff Goldblum with the flare.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. As far as like her motivations, we obviously get a big reveal about why she takes on this reckless behavior and that, but I counter it in that with that outpost scientist and that devoting his life to these toxic birds that he's deathly afraid of when the fence goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference, really?
Excuse me. You good?
I'm good.
I just want to say there was a comment by Takako somewhere about I'm not that quick or clever, which makes me think. And I wanted to say that it's too bad there wasn't like a clever girl reference, like especially when it spit the toxin and almost hit Mariner and it hits the pan. She could have gone like, "Oh, clever bitch" or "clever girl" or like whatever. It would have been something Mariner would totally say. So missed opportunity.
They're gonna end up having to pay. Who owns Jurassic Park? I don't think it's Paramount. Universal.
Yeah.
It's Universal.
Yeah.
I mean, if Disney's not on their ass after this episode, I think they're
Oh
good
my God,
with
right?
Jurassic
Yeah, I
Park
think they're okay.
references.
I liked the cold open. I don't know if I had the benefit of doing the round table and Mike being like, "We're getting to Mariner really soon. I have a plan in these next 2 episodes." So I don't know if that helped, but I don't know if I necessarily agree that it kind of came out of nowhere. We've seen this behavior from Mariner for pretty much all 4 seasons. To a point, MC, I know that you were actually almost like frustrated by it. Like this is just there's been like level 1, level 2, level 3. I think level 4 was like almost getting like incarcerated. She did get incarcerated on Ferenginar, and finally like that didn't work, and she's still not listening to people. So now this is finally level 5, just trying to just put herself in harm's way any opportunity she can. Did it set up the rest of the episode? No, but I feel
just
go ahead.
Sorry. I'm just surprised. Woo!
You ladies first.
Draft.
I'm just surprised that MC didn't do the reference to the Kelvin verse with Spock trying to get killed. Are you sick? Are you okay? All right.
I mean, no, but yes, you're absolutely right.
Because again, that's something that we've seen with Spock in the Kelvin verse, and he's also in grief, and that's how he deals with grief. And we see the same thing. I mean, I had not noticed until you talked about like how it came from nowhere. But yeah, for me, it's more because now Carol is worried, and that's what changed.
Well, right, that's like the
changes
big
the
thing.
deal.
She really notices how bad it's gotten. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No,
Well, I mean, like I was saying that it's the fact that the motivations are different for the recklessness.
Are they?
That's because the recklessness of the past has all been very self-serving, while this is selflessness. Like she was like, especially in like the Ferenginar episode, she was hedonistic,
right?
Which is a completely different kind of recklessness than she was displaying in this episode.
Fair. All right. Let's move on to it's a comms buoy. What could go wrong? Nothing. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing can go wrong at all. After Carol calls a meeting, right, with all of the lower deckers in attendance, she asks why her daughter is trying to get herself killed, which is a very valid question because that's what's been going on. She assigns Boymes, Tendi, T'Lyn, and Beckett on this cakewalk mission to a comms buoy because they all notice it too, right? Like they're all worried about her. So they go to this comms buoy, but as they're leaving, and Mariner, like she's getting frustrated, right? Because she's like, "Where's the danger? Like this sucks. Like what could go wrong at a comm buoy?" As she asks that, a bird of prey decloaks. By the way, big shout out, tip of the cap to the animators on that fucking bird of prey and all the details. Gorgeous, just fucking gorgeous. So yeah, it decloaks. It's Ma'az's former ship, and he fires on the shuttle. They emergency beam out and they crash land on the planet, right? It becomes very clear very quickly that they've crashed on the planet that has all the crews of the destroyed ships that so they're on that planet. What do we think of that reveal, right? And just more as they land on that planet, right? Mariner like, I'm the alpha, and like I'm gonna go find the danger, and
The apex predator.
yeah, the apex predator. That's right. Yeah, I'm the new. Yeah, that's right.
Another Jurassic Park reference, by the way.
Yep. 100%. Giraffe.
So I love the Bird of Prey. It was so Star Trek 4. Like, I mean, we knew that we were gonna get like more Star Trek 4 and more Star Trek 4, right? Because I come on, it's season 4. No, I love the theme song. Like hearing the Klingon theme song or the theme was so good. I don't really understand how. Like, I think it was a little bit pushed that they end up there so fast. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it's a buoy, and then it's the planet. I was like, oh, it's the planet. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here for a good time, and I love I love the fact that I was kind of right. Only the captains and their first officer are on the planet.
Yeah.
So it is a problem going on with the lower deckers who like took the ship, I suppose.
They mutinied, yeah.
Yeah. I'm here for a good Romulan drama. I love that the Romulans are just the butt of the jokes of everybody. It cracked me up. I don't know until where we're going, but like,
no, that's fine.
like,
you can do your
like
thing.
when the Orion is like, Starfleet even worse than the Romulan, and the Romulan's like, hey. I just at that point I was still like trying to figure out like where we were going with the story, because it was all very fast paced going from one part of the story to another. So I watched the episode with no subtitles, so I had to rewatch it because I was like, I think I missed like pieces of the story because I did not understand how the Bird of Prey was there and so on. So there's a lot of, I think it's a two-parter also. I feel that right now, because I've seen only half of the story, I'm still trying to puzzle together what's going on, which can be interesting because then we're in the same position than the characters. So, I don't have like really an opinion on how awesome that buoy was because I don't know what the hell they're doing here. Yeah.
Real quick in the chat, Matt wanted to mention that it was Tendi that very quickly noticed that the buoy had been tampered with. So Tendi, of course, like is always like really smart at figuring out like when there's something like awry and something amiss. So good point. MC.
The first thing I want to point out, I really liked Boimler calling T'Lyn T.
Yes.
Which I think Mariner has done before, but this is the first time that I saw Boimler do it, and I like it because it means T'Lyn is becoming more of a part of the group. And
Mariner calls Tendi T also, so they're both T.
Yeah. No, Tendi is D.
In the subtitle it was T.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I very clearly heard her call her D because it's Divana. But I don't know.
Tendi also, no?
But yeah,
they call her Tendi, no?
Well, I've heard D and T before. I think there was.
It could be both.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
anyway.
mean, the subtitle said T, so I was like, that's confusing. They're both calling them T, like out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah. MC.
But also, I ship T'Lyn and Boimler, so I like the familiarity between them. And this whole like almost pre-intervention, I did like that because it does show that Carol is worried about Mariner. But at the same time, in hindsight, looking at it, with this mission coming up with them having to go get Nick Locarno, considering how reckless Mariner is, and this knowledge now that Mariner knew Nick back at the academy. So it's both worry and also her being, a captain, I think, and that things could get very messy if and clearly they're going to get messy next week because Nick is trying to recruit her, or we'll get into that later. I love the Klingon theme that they've got. It's one of my favorite themes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Chris Westlake, you rock.
And the knowledge as to what's happened with the crews, I'm glad to have finally gotten this, and it does finally explain why everything was always starting with the lower decks and then going because I did complain about that at one point, where it's like, it's kind of the same, kind of the same thing every time. It was, very repetitive, but now you see why it was repetitive, because they needed to set up that the crew were dissatisfied and, have the mutiny. So I enjoy being proven wrong in that kind of situation. That's one of the few situations where I enjoy being proven wrong.
Hey, Eric.
The danger buoy. The amount of times they've been left on satellites,
oh my God,
and stuff. Of course, they would think that danger would somehow happen. I assume. I don't know. But the bird of prey, gorgeous. Like everyone else said, the music, perfect. The animation when they shot the torpedo out of the front looked perfect. Like it was so good. I also enjoyed the look that Boimler gave Mariner when she shoved him out of the chair. That was hilarious. The fact that that's Ma'aj's ship really like intrigues me. Like how these people these Klingons ended up working with Locarno. Like it's just how he ended up like recruiting all these people to did the other ships get destroyed like for the Romulans and stuff?
Like so. This is what I'm getting, is that the ships were not destroyed. There was a plot, among all the lower deckers and that to disable the ships from within. Okay. So whatever was happening.
Yeah, they're all in command of those ships.
Yeah, they got the ship. That's what I'm saying in the chat. We're chatting about this in the chat right now.
Yeah. I was just
unless they've been destroyed sined. Like, I mean, that Klingon bird of prey might have taken them out. Because...
it's strange that they're the only ones there, right?
Yeah.
Like that was neat.
But there's a bigger plan, and Locarno left the bird of prey there because it's the one with the best weapons, and to
you say that as a fan of Romulans.
They were guarding the planet, right?
Listen, can you really trust Roman lower deckers?
Wait, just lower deckers though? Like, can you trust a Romulan? Like, that's the question.
So yeah, I thought their goal was to stay here to prevent the plot to be discovered, because there's a bigger plot. We agree on this, right?
I am really looking forward to seeing why Locarno left them all there to battle it out on this savage planet. Like, was he hoping for one person to come out of the top, or just for them to destroy each other? Like,
I think it was just like he probably didn't know a better thing to do, and like this place is, like Tendi said, right? It's abandoned because of the storms. Like no one's gonna come looking for them there.
And Locarno,
why not like just straight up murder them?
I don't think Nick.
I kind of got a theory on
that. Go
ahead. Should we do it now or maybe at the end?
Just do it now. We can go out of order. It's fine. Just do it now.
Then we can rip it apart later.
He's targeting the captain, Exos, and that top brass. I think it has to do with Sito's death, placing them in a situation that they should not really be in, as far as danger, the way that she was put in that same situation.
I will always support a battle royale situation.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
It gave the chase also, but better.
Ooh, yeah. Shaky ground, the chase. That, oh my God, that look just says 1,000 words, Giraffe. Christ almighty.
Also a little dash of arena in there, right?
Yeah.
Any sort of battle royale-esque.
Nick Locarno's an Organian now. There you go. No. Eric, sorry, we keep interrupting.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Like the recklessness of Mariners. Like, again, like I'm with MC. It just seems, I don't know. It felt weird for me just how much it was in this episode, based on, for me, this season, it really felt like she was sort of coming into the promotion for a lot of it. and then like there are bouts of her coming back and being like herself, but I didn't feel like it would go to this level. I don't know. That was just me, maybe.
Yeah. David Ellison.
I also watched it all in like 2 days.
That's true.
With you guys.
That's true. You did. David Ellis in the chat writes, I'm guessing Locarno is looking for fellow lower deckers with axes to grind, and he's trying to recruit Mariner, which I do agree. I think he's 100% trying to recruit her. I'm willing to bet he thinks she has the biggest axe to grind of all. So we'll see.
Now I wonder, like, why wasn't she on the list too? Right.
Well, right.
They
But because
found-
she's not Starfleet, though, all of
She's
them
not X,
are.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And
That's
there's no so far he has not captured any Starfleet ship.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Right.
non-Starfleet. And that's interesting because I think it would be easier to just get lower deckers that are done with their life
Right.
in Starfleet than in other cultures. I don't know.
Yeah. Hawk.
There's not really much more I have to add to this.
That's the first of the night. There's number one.
Pass.
Pass. Okay, so I want to talk about Carol real quick, right? I've been saying Carol for like a week because my mother-in-law was here and her name's Carol. So just like Carol this, Carol that, Carl. That's Walking Dead. Sorry. I really like, because over 4 seasons, Mariner and Carol's relationship has been very, like, it's been a tumultuous relationship. It just like it has. And this is really the first time where it's no other bullshit attached to what she says, right? It's just not, why is Ensign Mariner trying to get herself killed? Why is your teammate trying to get herself killed? It's, why is my daughter trying to get herself killed? And I love the delivery of the line. I love the care that Dawn Lewis like puts into the lines. I thought it was really well delivered. You just immediately know that this is not frustration with her daughter. This isn't just like, oh fuck, she's fucked up again. This is like, something's wrong with her. I'm worried and I'm concerned, and can you help me? And the way she says, when she assigns the mission, when she says thank you, it's like, man, you feel for her. Like, yes, Giraffe.
Oi. Now that everybody talked and like say things, I'm changing my mind on that situation. I agree that Mariner has done fucked up thing before, and Carol, I'm tired. Who's Nicole? Who knows? Carol was more pissed and worried. I think that what makes her worried is the added mix of Locarno.
Yeah.
Because she knows what
Yeah.
happened in the academy, and I'm pretty sure that, I mean, like, we know now that Mariner was part of that class and that she knew all these people, and we don't know what went down in the what went down after that. Like, it's like, oh, there's a kid in the class who's a bad influence, and like, I really want my kid to not be near him, or because that's not good. And I think that Mariner is already doing crazy things, and now she sees Nick Locarno's name and she's like, no, absolutely not. And that's why now she's worried, and she was not before. I wonder if that's not something to do like that, because we first off duty story where they killed another cadet.
Right.
I think there's like a lot of worry that comes from everything that happened before. Maybe there's more that we don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I mean, I want to know all of it, right? Like, I would love that episode. We're gonna watch those episodes after the pod tonight to see if there's anything in there that can give us hints, because Mike McMahon just adores TNG, right? Like, so I'm guessing we're gonna watch those and find those. Yeah. So there you go.
I did too.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's me, right? Oh yeah, I was talking about Carol. I really like that. The bird of prey, I already said. I don't want to talk too much about what happened on the planet, because I really want to get to the next part, which is what I have a lot to talk about with, and I'm sure everybody else does too.
What was also interesting about that meeting is that Ransom was also concerned.
Yes,
like they were all like,
they were all
the
concerned,
main
right?
bridge concerned. It was really strange to hear him not be mad at Mariner for being like that, and like it
I
was
feel
cool.
like
and I
this
think
season,
Jack was
Ransom's been very supportive of Mariner.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have a long history too. I think Jack is around Mariner's age, right? Like, they also.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, I think they also could have been. I think Jack could have been in that class too.
Yeah.
So there's just like a lot to unpack with all this, and it's giving me goosebumps because I
2-hour
love
episode next week, right?
Yeah, 2-hour episode next week.
Yeah. No, I 100% think that Ransom was in that same class because
Yeah.
I personally think that Ransom and Wesley were roommates.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I could see that.
Oh, all right. I'm hoping my system doesn't shut down because the last time my thing made a noise like that, everything went haywire. So I'm giving it a second. Pardon me, guys. Everybody sounds normal still. Yeah? Good? Good? It had a really weird popping sound. All right. So let's talk about the big bombshell, right? I'm still going wow because it was just tremendous. Mariner promising her friends that she'll just sleep it off because she thinks they're being dicks, but they're not. They're just really good friends who are concerned about their really good friend. She wakes up and she goes Rambo, right? Eventually running into Ma'at. The two fight in a pretty badass epic fight, right? There's lots of Klingon being spoke and it was epic. But then the planet, known for its really horrible weather and electrical storms, it just starts raining glass. Like Ma'at gets like a giant shard of glass in his back. This planet has no honor. I love that line. The two take shelter together, and Ma'at gets Mariner to open up about her reckless behavior and why she keeps going down this path and acting like this. And it turns out Mariner was really close with none other than Sito Jaxa from the First Duty and Lower Decks, the episode Lower Decks that kind of inspired this whole series that we love to talk about. So with that, for a brief history lesson for some of maybe the people that haven't watched TNG in the chat, Hawk, who is Sito Jaxa, and what happened in those two episodes, and why is that so important?
Alrighty. Well, it's been a while, but I'll see if I can remember. So First Duty was episode 519. So season 5, episode 19.
Wait, you just pulled that out of the air?
No.
He's got Wikipedia open or memory alpha.
I watched both these last night and I started taking notes. So Sito Jaxa was part of the Nova Squadron at the Academy with Wesley Crusher. Nick Locarno was the squadron leader. They were all involved in an accident which killed one Joshua Albert. They were attempting the Colvard Starburst maneuver to impress the graduating class ceremony. It was a banned maneuver because 100 years ago, and that the entire Nova Squadron was killed when they tried to pull it off. They tried to cover it up, but in the end, Wesley was the one who came forward and told the inquiry the truth about the accident. Sito and the rest of the team had to repeat the year and graduated with disgrace. Nick Locarno, however, was expelled and never heard from again. In the episode,
Tom Paris, Scott, I'm really sorry.
They're basically
sorry.
the same character. Hold on.
Oh,
Are
I
you
just had
gonna
a
do that
theory.
for Torik also? Because I just trying to know. There's a lot
Guys,
of
we had a reference. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
lots of doppelganger in
Yeah.
these.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We had a reference to Thomas Riker in this episode. What if Tom Paris and Nick Locarno, one of them is a transporter clone?
Maybe. Sorry, Hawk.
So in the episode Lower Decks from season 7, episode 15, Sito is an officer, an ensign on the Enterprise now, up for a promotion to ops, and that her and Lavelle are the ones that are basically in the running for it. She is summoned to Picard's office, and that where he gives her a dressing down about her character and not coming forward on her own about the accident. She thinks she's in the doghouse. Worf seems to have taken her under his wing, and that I believe she's in security with him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And during a fake Romulan ritualistic practice of fighting blind, and that Worf demonstrates. Sorry,
Romulans.
Oh, sorry, I got Romulans in the brain tonight. Worf demonstrates to her that she needs to point out a false judgment of her character to his superiors, no matter what the consequences. If she believes it's wrong, she needs to call it out. And she ends up confronting Picard about it, and Picard tells her he was hoping that she would, as he has a very dangerous assignment that he'd like her to volunteer for. It involves getting a Cardassian spy back over into Cardassian space without alerting them that he's actually spying on them for the Federation. She ends up volunteering for the mission. Being a Bajoran, having probably grown up under the occupation, she knows exactly what the risks are involved, and she does it anyways. And she ends up getting killed. The Cardassian ends up the mission was a success for the most part in that, but she was killed in an escape.
Do we know
attempt.
that the mission was
No,
a success?
that's what I was
No.
gonna say.
I thought they both
We
end up
don't
getting
know-
killed. I think the Cardassians realized he was a traitor.
I don't think so. Because I from what I understood, I thought it involved her escaping back over into Federation space in the emergency shuttle pod, right?
So we know nothing. Because I rewatched it like
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
We know nothing. We don't even know she's actually dead.
Mhm.
That's true.
Like that's the
Yeah.
terrible thing about it. They say like Picard like announces like she's been killed in the line of duty, but they scan the remains in like so far they have to send a probe because
Yeah.
they cannot go near because it's in Cardassian space, and they say, oh, there are remains like found that like can match an escape pod.
Right.
And that's all they know. They don't have her body. They don't scan her. They just find something that looks like an escape pod that's been blown up. And that's the horrible thing about it, because like I rewatched it and I was like, oh, we actually
We
don't
don't,
know that
yeah.
she's actually
Mhm.
dead. Maybe
Didn't-
she was captured and tortured. Like we don't know anything.
Didn't they get a communication later in that episode?
They
saying
did.
They
that
did, yeah. There
Yeah.
was that they did receive a communique. It was an intercepted communique from Cardassian.
Yeah,
But the
and it says-
Cardassians could also be
saying that
lying.
Yeah,
a
that's
Yeah.
a Bajoran
Uh,
prisoner had been
yeah.
killed.
Because
Next week
imagine
we find
that
out she's alive.
that they actually, like realize that he's a spy and she's Starfleet. Like they're gonna make like it look like, she escaped and they blew her up, and then they do a fake communique saying, oh, a Bajoran spy tried to escape and she was killed.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
actually don't know.
We don't
Yeah.
know. We really
We don't know,
Mhm.
but as far as like a lore goes, and that she was killed in an escape attempt. So
Yep.
I mean, Picard even violated the treaty just sending that probe in
He
just to
did.
confirm.
Yeah.
And the thing also is that she was not supposed to escape. Like they were supposed to use her as a way to like go away, and then they would have like he would have sent her in an escape pod. So the fact that there's a communique saying, oh, she tried to escape, sounds like they were discovered and she tried to escape. So something went terribly south at one point or another, because they
Yeah.
found her and she tried to leave. So yeah, it's a terrible episode.
A terrible episode?
Like it's horrible.
Oh,
Like,
it's horrible what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For her, yes,
Yeah,
especially.
100%. Yeah. Thank you for that, Hawk, by the way. A very good
Oh.
history lesson. Appreciated. I'm going to light it up for one moment because Matt Harker a while ago wrote, wait, we have to go back. Eric, can you hit the soundbite, please?
Which one?
The one.
Me how to tap.
Oh, sorry.
Teach me how to tap dance, Beverly Crusher.
That one. Thank you. I'll lighting it up just for a moment. So Beckett just continues, right, to let it out. And by the way, I forget who said it in the chat, but Tawny, this acting performance is, man, whew. We finally learn her trauma, right? She starts to cry and tells Ma'a like that Sito was killed by the Cardassians. That's what at least she knows. Like, we're talking now. We don't know. That's something I want to maybe talk about later if we have time. And that her death absolutely destroyed her because she calls her the perfect friend, right? Like she modeled herself after Sito. So she is just destroyed by this, but she doesn't even have any time, right? And part of why this is important is that like it's a lot of the objections that fans have when they talk about this episode, right? Is that Sito didn't sign up to be a spy, right? Like Picard shouldn't have put her in that position in the first place. Now that's arguable. Like I always like to argue that she's Bajoran, like we were just saying. She lived through the occupation. I don't think there was anybody that was going to stop her from getting on that shuttle, if we're being honest, except Picard, who's her captain, who could have said, you know what, don't do this. But even then, like, knowing who she is and probably living through that, she probably would have snuck on and done it anyway. That's my opinion. Anyway, so she didn't set up to be a spy, but she can't even deal with the death of her friend, right? Because all of a sudden, just everything with the Cardassians gets crazy, right? She's thrust right into the Dominion War, serving during that. She carries the PTSD of that, and the whole reason that she continues to act out, like we've seen in Lower Decks, right, and keeps going promoted and demoted and promoted and demoted, is because she says she doesn't ever want to have the responsibility of sending her friends to death. She wanted to be a captain in the academy. It's the thing that she wanted most, but she just doesn't want to be ever in a position to have to make a decision like Picard did with Sito. What did we feel finally unlocking Mariner and Ma'a afterwards, also giving her some tough love, being like, you don't honor your friend. She died so you can continue to like do what Starfleet's supposed to do. Giraffe.
Okay. So
It's a lot. I'm sorry.
When she says my friend Sito, I was like, oh my God. And I was watching with my husband, who is not really versed in like TNG, and it was like, what? So I had to pause and do the whole like history lesson. And why it was so important that she dropped that name. I think that, this moment really show how Star Trek has grown, and also how as society we've grown into taking care of the younger generation. Like when I watched Shinji, like way back when, I was like, oh my God, they're all so badass, and like she was brilliant, and Picard like did everything right. And now I rewatch it as a supervisor, as somebody who trains younger people, and train younger teacher, or have people who are like half my age under my supervision and are young professional. And I find this situation so appalling. Like the fact that Starfleet plays emotional like triggers on people who are so young, because they're young, they're like 21, 22, they're kids, and they are doing a stressful job. And then there's the whole, Picard like abuses her, like saying like, you like, I can trust you, and so on. He's her commanding officer, having somebody you look up to, somebody who's like taking care of you, who's here like to take care of your safety and like lead you, like talk to you like that, is devastating. And then, oh, it was a test. Like, no. Like, how are you supposed to trust somebody when they do that to you? This is like not okay. This is something today that could get you into trouble. Like if I do that to one of my coworker and they're like, it was a test to see, what you had into you. No, I'm going to end up in HR, like immediately. And it doesn't create the result that you expect. You just make people feel insecure and not knowing if they can trust you or not, and not knowing their worth, or like if you really think that they are worthy. So they basically manipulated a young kid who already went through occupation and through horrible thing in her life, like into being a toy, like into serving a purpose, and they got her killed. And I think that right now, if they did the same storyline, would be like, that's horrible. Like ask not in like the short track, like what the hell, like you don't do that to people. That's not how you're gonna have commanding officers that are stable and that are trusting you and trusting people around them. So the fact that Mariner calls that bullshit and like says that it's not okay and says that it broke her is super important. And we saw that also in Strange New World with those old scientists, like difference of generation and how they look at the people commanding them, how they look at the system, how they look when she calls the Dominion War a massacre and she says, I don't want to be a general. Like those words are so important into seeing how we as people who watch Star Trek have also grown in our society in like towards like understanding war, and like how we throw a bunch of kids. Very small Ahsoka spoiler, so go away for a second if you've not watched Ahsoka. But we see the same thing in Star Wars, with the recognition that she was a child soldier.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that it's not okay, and that it should not be okay, and that these characters should come to term with something horrible was done to them when they were young, and that I don't trust the system because of that. And I feel there's a parallel here also with Mariner. Mariner loves Starfleet, but she's afraid because she was so young and they threw her into a horrible situation, and she saw her friends being killed for no reason at all. Idealistic kids. And there are so many parallels with what happens in Lower Decks in the episode. Like Torek, when Powell refuses, says like, I cannot take I
Yeah.
cannot be a lieutenant. He says the best way to remember her would be to excel in your position. And that's what Maha says to Mariner, to you honor her by excelling in at your job. And I feel that when Torek says that and everybody's like, oh yeah, Starfleet, you're like, oh, that's so good. But when Maha says that as, a Klingon, as somebody who like was like, oh, you wasn't there, we were in the war, oh, I wanted to be there, and like realizing that no, that's not actually what he wanted. There's so much growth. And I love the fact that we revisit these important TNG episodes, like we saw in Picard also with Rolaren. And like when we revisit this conversation and be like, hey, that was fucked up. And look, we're better people. We've grown and we've all grown together. So big up. It was like super emotional. And actually rewatching Lower Decks and then rewatching that episode was like insane because there's so many parallels. And it's like fixing that episode. I mean, fixing it. Helping that
enhancing
grow. And grow to like somebody in 2023 to watch it and be like, yeah.
And I do think like
it was long. Sorry.
No. I want to touch on it.
It's okay.
It
was really good.
I really love what you said. I think that Mariner saying I don't want to be a general and she didn't sign up to be a spy is a direct knock on Picard's captain style during that time, and not just Picard's captain style, but the captain style during that era of TNG where they were on the brink of war, just almost all the time between the Borg and then the Dominion and just like so many things. So I think it was a knock on that.
It wasn't just the knock on the captaincies of is the brass of Starfleet, right? It was
Starfleet
all of
as
them.
a whole.
Like they were all.
Yeah. And you see that with what's his face in Picard also, the captain. I forgot his name.
Sorry,
the captain. We explain, that he was a young lieutenant, a land ensign, and they were like, "You're number 10." Like
Liam Shaw.
Yeah, Liam Shaw. Like the absolute horrible PTSD these ensigns like would go through war when they signed up to explore is like crazy. Yeah.
And David Ellis writes, I think there was a time when Beckett was the most idealistic cadet in the room, and that's
everybody's
when they're at the academy
at one point or another. Listen, if I get into like an astronaut program, I'm gonna be the most idealistic person. But then if they're like, actually, you're gonna go get killed in a war, I'd be like,
no, I've said it before that Mariner like was Boimler at one point and then turned into Mariner. Like I absolutely believe that.
MC, keep going.
Oh my God, there's even with as much as Giraffe has said, there's still so much to unpack in this bit because my God. First of all, I'm going to build up because there's just a lot of stuff to talk about. So the first thing is I've noticed a lot of discourse, and even us in our private chat have talked about how Mariner has been firmly aged at this point. We kind of know exactly how old she is. And I've noticed people have been upset about it. And I am a little puzzled by this because I think that this is actually because I mathed it out. Like I actually did the math on it. If Mariner is a contemporary of Wesley, which Wesley is the only one we actually have a birth date for, she would be 33 in this season of Lower Decks.
Ah, so old.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's exactly kind of the age that I kind of pegged her as being. Mm-hmm. And also we've seen her in live action where she's played by Tawny Newsome, and Tawny Newsome's 40. So like having Mariner be 33, not all that out of
No.
the
Are
realm
they
of-
mad that she's an ensign and that age?
That's what I think, and that's exactly why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah, that's weird to be outraged about. Or
We've seen
Yeah.
Picard in an alternate universe be a lieutenant, or was
at
he a
like
lieutenant?
50
or-
something.
Oh,
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
lieutenant at 50 something. That was something else that I had thought of. Yeah, there does seem to be like this people getting upset at the idea of someone being a lower decker in their early 30s. And as somebody who is 40 and hasn't quite figured out what they want to do with their life, I'm offended by people who are doing that, because especially with all we find out about Mariner's trauma, her not having figured things out by 33, which is so young, especially for somebody who's going to live to be 150. Like she has time to figure things out. And getting into when I heard Cito's name, like as Giraffe said, like it was just kind of like a moment where I just, totally gay gasped over it. And there's just so much, because it's not just Cito. It is definitely not just Cito. Because if it had been just Cito, I don't think Mariner would have graduated from the academy. I think it was, she was traumatized by it, but it's like, oh, I'm going to go forward. And then, of course, she goes forward and immediately gets thrust into the Dominion War. And I've talked before about how I think that Mariner was traumatized by the Dominion War, and she very much confirmed it in this episode. It was, this, reality of, being at war and seeing that, for all Starfleet talks about, being a peacekeeping armada, scientists forward, they are quasi-military. Like they are like, and it was really this speech from Mariner reminds me of Nog in It's Only a Paper Moon. And there's like almost when she says, I don't want to be a general, it's almost the exact same way that Aaron Eisenberg said that, I don't want to die. So just so much emotion. And again, it brings up, I have two things that I harp on, and that's queer representation and mental health. And this brought up the mental health side of it, because my God, Starfleet sucks at mental health, because they bring up Migley Moo in this episode, but they kind of,
she should go see Migley Moo. Oh yeah.
Hold on.
yeah.
Here it is. Where is it? Where'd it go? I literally wrote it down. Okay, I thought I wrote it down. Oh yeah, no. Yeah. Why doesn't she go talk to Dr. Blue? No, there's no time for that. We have to send you to a buoy. Like, are you fucking kidding? There's always time for a therapy session.
Yeah, if Mariner is really that bad, like, because like the ship, like they don't take the ship down to the planet to do like the whole Locarno mission. Like, so why don't, if Mariner is so bad off, keep her on the ship. Like, take her off duty, because that's a thing you can do when you're captain. That's a thing that you can do when you're, also like the chief
Why does she have to
officer.
know about the mission anyway, right? She's a Lord Decker.
Just take another, like, are they the only like people there? Like there's nobody else on the ship? Like,
well, like that's often how it works when you're the main characters. But yeah, if she's so bad off, you take her off duty and you make her go, you can't go back on duty until you figure this shit out. And now, granted, Migley Moo is probably like the wrong person to go to. And I've always fucking loved Deanna and Esri as people, but they're shitty as mental health professionals. And I think Starfleet has always like been absolute garbage when it comes to mental health. But, we see here that Mariner had not only a very good friend of hers be killed on a mission, which granted, I know that happens to a lot of people, but certainly it was a very, even if it happens all the time, that's still something that should be addressed when it happens. And then somebody who also goes through the Dominion War like this, there should be more therapists in Starfleet, and there should be more competent therapists because Miggly Moo is basically just made into a fucking joke. And now I get it, like Starfleet, we don't want to have a Star Trek series that's like The Sopranos, where it's got like a therapy session in every episode. Even though I would personally,
I think
like
that'd be amazing.
I love The Sopranos.
But yeah, we're just really terrible at actually showing these characters have appropriate mental health. And this is something that's gone back all the way to TOS, like when you have Uhura like lose all of her memories, and like we just forget that happened. Like it's just like, don't ignore it, she'll be fine. And that's something that happens. Like I think like the only time we've ever really had like things carry over is in After the Best of Both Worlds, where you had Picard like mud wrestle with his brother for one episode, and then after that he's pretty much fine until it
and
gets
they don't
brought up
take
again
him off
Picard.
duty after he gets tortured by the Cardassians and was a minute away from giving Starfleet secrets. Everything's fine.
Or when O'Brien, when he went through like that whole like
Oh my god!
and
20 years
almost
in
killed
prison.
himself.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
and he almost committed suicide. Yeah. So yeah. I will continue to harp on this until my very last breath. And Mariner is somebody who I think embodies this problem because, and I mean, I was complaining before about the erraticness of her being reckless in a hedonistic way, and then her being reckless in a self-sacrificing way. But actually, now that I am talking about it, I actually understand it more now. I mean, from a storytelling perspective, I have a problem with it, but from a mental health perspective, understand a little bit more, because somebody who is not dealing with their emotions and their mental health will have these erratic things where they're being self-destructive in a just litany of ways. And it's uncomfortable to see because, as somebody who does have problems with their mental health and is trying very hard to work on it, seeing somebody who is obviously deteriorating. And I mean, I like what Ma'at says, giving her some tough love. But for me, it's like, I would really like to see more, but I did love it. I thought it was all very good.
Yeah. Colin actually writes her Frankie friend is a better therapist, frankly, than Dr. Miggly Moo. So
yeah,
not wrong. Eric.
Yes, I agree with that. Everyone before me. How to add to this? It's funny. Like we talk about how Star Trek hasn't really talked about the repercussions of earlier episodes, but I feel like Wesley sort of had to deal with all of that, right? Everything after that Starburst incident, he had to sort of live up to what he's done, and he had to prove himself again and again. And then he got to a point where he ended up having to go, but for other reasons.
But you know what? It's not other reasons, because
it's also
he
part of
sees
it,
what
yeah.
Mariner's seeing, right? Like Starfleet makes really bad fucking decisions this time, like a lot, and this was a bad decision on Starfleet's part that makes Wesley leave.
And he could do better work with the Travelers than with Starfleet. I feel like that's where the point he got to, which was really interesting to see. The survivor's guilt that Mariner feels, like not just the PTSD, but like the fact that she doesn't feel like she's worthy of going past the ensign rank is so interesting. Her ideas of how militaristic Starfleet has became in that era, and they're probably still seeing the effects of the Dominion War and everything from that. It sort of reminds me of Star Trek Into Darkness, right? Carol Marcus's dad was fully on that part where we have to be an armada, we have to be ready for wars all the time, and that's not what Star Trek was. And that's why Scotty sort of left, right? He was like, I don't want to have these torpedoes on here because that's not safe. We're scientists. Oh my god, there's a lot. I can't even. When I heard Cito's name, everyone here, you're it's immediate. It's an immediate reaction, because that character, Loradex, is my favorite TNG episode. So, it just, I loved it as a kid. I was like, oh my God, we get to see other people. And then we get to see this, the repercussions and everything from it. I didn't use those words as a what 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I would like to believe you did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I love them. Was like, you have to honor her by moving forward. Like, honor that she wants you to study plants or whatever. Oh, where was that?
That's what you do, right? Plants.
Slay
Yeah.
and study you. What is it? Plants?
This is a phenomenal way of looking at Mariner, and I feel like this is a real big turning point in the series. Like, Mariner realizing where she has to go from this point or how to move forward, and that's only get compounded when she meets with Locarno later. And I can't wait to talk about him because
Yes.
there's so much there.
Hawk.
What more do I add to this? Okay, first up, I just wanted to mention that scene with Mariner and that when she was unloading to Ma, and that I don't know what it is. It seemed like the animation was just kind of extra special.
It was. No, it
like-
really was. They put
The
so much detail into it.
into her facial movements and like expressions and that. So I just, like,
Shadows.
yeah, and the way the light played off them from it was absolutely beautiful to watch. Of course, Mariner would be friends with Cito. You know, it's the way I guess they both graduated in the same year. So I mean, like, Cito was repeating that year and that after the act.
No,
after
and
the
Cito
incident.
actually still graduated ahead of Mariner. Mariner says it.
But did she
Mhm.
say ahead of her or?
I think she said ahead of her.
Yeah, she
Ahead
says
of
that.
her.
She
No,
says
ahead of
ahead of her. I was wondering if that meant like academically ahead.
Yeah, I
of
thought
her, like,
that meant like top. Of the
Yeah,
class.
it could have been taken either way.
Oh,
Honestly.
okay. I see what you mean. Yep.
Yeah. So, but of course, she would have been friends with Cito and the outcasts. You know, it's like, and she says, she screwed up and that. And I don't know if it was any worse than like what Picard did. Like, I don't think we ever really got the details on what Picard did at the academy that, Bootby, stepped in and made him like confess. Regardless, the problems of Starfleet and the culture and that, especially the culture of competitiveness among like the ensigns, because that definitely would have fired her up in that to volunteer for that mission, right? If she was already in competition with somebody in that for an ops position and that, and given like the dressing down Picard gave her, about her what happened at the academy, that whole environment also prompted her to make a very rash decision in that and volunteering for that mission. Something that she wasn't trained for, and something she wouldn't have been there. Where was Ro Laren? Ro Laren would have like kicked ass.
I like
Was
you bringing
Ro
up
already
the
gone at this point?
Ro doesn't leave until the end of season
The
6.
end of
Yes.
season. I thought actually the end of
Yeah.
season.
No, the end of season 7.
Oh, it's the end of season 7. Yeah, it's like the episode before, like
Yep.
All Good Things.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I really like you bringing up like the competition aspect, because it is something they actually brought up on Lower Decks last season. Like, it goes all the way up to like when you're an admiral, because Admiral Buenamigo is like, when you're an admiral, you need to find a way to stand out. So that's why I built the Texas class. So yes, there is like this, competition, that continually goes on through Starfleet, and is toxic because it's causing people to kill themselves and kill other people.
Yeah, it's that race to be the first up the mountain, and it's, and it just like when Mariner starts talking about it, it's like if being an ensign was good enough for Cito, it's good enough for me. Not she's like she's way past that, the whole thing of competition, and advancement and that. She just wants to stay, at where on the lower decks and that, like studying plants, as the guy said. She realizes Starfleet is, the promise of Starfleet is not the reality of Starfleet, and I think that's probably something it also shares with Ahsoka, that with Balin.
She wants to stay an ensign for the wrong reasons, though. We're all agreeing.
Yeah, she does.
She does.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's like there's a part where like, it's good to have like, if you've done like you're where you want to be happy where you want to be,
Mhm.
where you are. But like, that's not the case for Mariner. She's not.
No, she's not growing as a person either.
No,
but
yeah.
No. There's 2 comments I want to read in the chat right now. One from Takako, but isn't that also the culture of military service academies? Yes. Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Fuck no. It's awful, like MC was saying. I mean, I don't know if you guys have read these stories. It came out maybe a year or 2 ago about these kids who are on they're serviced on board a berthed Navy, I think aircraft carrier that's been being worked on for years, and the conditions are awful, but like they stay because they think that by staying they're eventually going to rank up, and it's been all over the news. Like there's been multiple suicides aboard that ship. Yeah, it is the culture of military service academies, and it's not a good thing. And Starfleet's no different. And yes, Starfleet's a fucking military. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Also from Amy Bowers, Cito didn't really volunteer though. She was pretty much told they needed her to do. I don't agree with that. I really don't. Picard gives her an opportunity to quit. I think that Cito being Bajoran, she was not gonna ever say no. I think Picard knew that. I think Picard manipulated the fact that she was Bajoran, but I also don't think that Cito would have ever said no.
I don't think anyone would have said no to Picard, though.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah.
Manipulate emotionally that kid. Like, first with Worf, like, oh, you passed the test, you're worthy. Then that was another test, you pass it again, you're worthy.
I don't know if Worf was happy with Picard. Everything that I got was that Picard wasn't happy. Worf wasn't happy with Picard. You have kids,
you know
either.
how easy it is to make them do things because they want to please you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. She wants to prove her worth. And the thing is that, like, if they didn't want her to be there, they should not have asked a 22-year-old who's just like fresh out of the academy serving for 7 months to do that.
Not
you
only
have officers, you have spies, you have people who are trained for this situation. She is not. They have a full ship.
No, but it was. I mean, again, why? Because she was the only Bajoran crew member. Well, no, the story.
I find it strange that she was the only Bajoran.
Well, not a lot of no, I don't. But a lot. Bajor was not part of the Federation, and I think it hadn't even applied yet. I don't think there were a lot of Bajorans.
If they can slap fake ears on Spock in like Strange New Worlds, they can slap a fake nose on some random dude. And like TNG does it all the time. Like there's an episode where Riker is like a fake alien. I mean, like what?
They
like,
put
right
they put a fake nose on Bajor on Riker when he goes to get Ro. Yeah.
You like and like when they like transform what's her name? Deanna Troi as a Romulan. Like, oh, right now you need a purebred Bajoran for that mission.
I mean, Cisco becomes a Klingon at one point.
And O'Brien and Odo.
Yeah. So bullshit.
Anyway, okay, fair. Okay, Cito. I got goosebumps, man. The minute that she said Cito, I was like, holy shit, right? Because you don't know that Mike McMahon's ever going to tie Lower Decks to Lower Decks. Like, I think after 4 seasons, I wasn't expecting it anymore, and there's not really a need to. It just was the inspiration for the title and a way to do it. Holy shit, though. The long game, and after especially what he said at the round table about I've had this game plan forever. The fact that he waited 4 years to finally tie these together and make them into something really important is just a genius move. Like Mike McMahon, I could just continue being a brown nose, but like whatever.
I wouldn't want to play him at 3-dimensional chess.
No, I mean, this was just such an amazing move. And I wrote on Twitter, like, this is Lower Decks Unification 3, right? It ties the series so beautifully, right? In such an organic way and in such a believable way. I love everything about this. And I love the ramifications it has, right? For Mariner and for TNG, right? Because somewhere now watching these episodes, and you said you watched them, Draft. I think everybody did, but me so far watched them again. You're going to be looking for Mariner, right? Like at the academy, like is she walking by booth B? Is she somewhere, right? Like this means that she was more than likely, I would say definitely, probably like buddy with Wesley Crusher, good friends with Wesley, obviously Cito, obviously Nick, Jack, like. This is how she probably knows Riker a little bit. Like, this is a really big deal, I think, for the Star Trek universe. And I don't think, like, people quite comprehend, like, how big it is. And maybe I'm looking into it too much. I don't think I am. Like,
no, I don't think you are.
I think it's a real game changer. And I think that Mike did it in just the most brilliant way. And that, like, when she teared up, I teared up. And that's just, like, amazing writing and amazing acting on Tawny Newsom's part. Tara, he said he still feels he said he still feels like Lower Decks himself, right? He relates to these episodes. He said that, like, I still answer to Alex Kurtzman, like I still answered to like studio execs, like, yeah.
So something I'd like to bring up that I had somebody mentioned at NYCC, I can't remember exactly who, but when they're talking about how all of the showrunners had like a monthly Zoom meeting to discuss things, and one of the biggest things they were discussing was arguing over which show got to use Wesley Crusher. I completely understand what Mike McMahon's argument was for using Wesley Crusher now.
Yeah. Oh man. Yep.
Can I add also that, I mean, sure, there are repercussions for, like, Lower Decks as a series inside of the Star Trek universe, but even inside of Lower Decks, like, these revelation how much insight it gives you on everything that happened for 4 seasons. And I actually started a list, but like, Mariner being pissed when they call her a spy in the Mogatu episode, being like absolutely like mad at them when they're like, you're a spy, and she was like, no, how could you think that I was a spy? How could you think that I would betray you? How? So that, like, I need to rewatch that episode. And also, she quits archaeology with Petra Aberdeen when she learns that it's being paid by Picard. And she's also like pissed at the fact that there's like, some shady business and like going behind the backs and like all this, that like Picard is having like these money used for that without saying anything, and using the archaeologists to like repatriate things behind like Starfleet badge, and she's out. She makes up like some weird excuse, and she's like, well, what is it, archaeology? Like, she has like old parts, and like Petra goes, rude, when she was doing that for like weeks and had no problem, and suddenly she flips and goes away. And the fact that she lost friends on the Quito also when she was an ensign there, and having people die again and again around her as ensigns. There's not only Sito, there's other people she talks about like losing. So it also like gives a whole insight on that character for 4 seasons. And now I want to rewatch all these episodes where I was like, I don't understand why she's doing that. I don't understand why she's acting this way. Like, that makes no sense. And like, she's ups and downs, but every time I feel there's something that triggered her, and she like went 3 steps behind and like tried to avoid the situation.
Yeah.
So it also like gives a lot of depth of like the whole series at itself.
It does. Yeah. So moving on near the end of the episode, right? Beckett and Ma'at find the other ship captains, right? And instead of fighting, because Ma'at is like giving her that tough love, and like I think Mariner has finally gotten it a little bit. Instead of fighting, she uses her Starfleet training and just like uses common sense with these captains, right? Also a little help from the Mistress of the Winter Constellations, being like, hold it, stop, you're dishonoring my family, shut the fuck up. I love that. As Mariner is about to go fix the station radar, right, to make it able to send a communique out, she gets beamed away. And something I want to immediately say is that even though we know she gets beamed to Locarno's ship, listen to that transporter. Mike McMahon and this whole entire team knows what they're doing. That was a Romulan transporter sound effect. Just saying. And in my notes, I'm going to say this too. I was saving this, but I'm going to say it right now. The Orion during this scene goes out of focus when they're talking about shadiness.
And you see the Romulans.
And the Romulan goes completely in focus.
I saw that. And I was like, that's weird. Why do we look at the Romulans right now? Like, what?
No.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So yeah, she gets beamed away by Nick Locarno. I wish we could talk about it. We're not really going to have time to, but them like storming the bird of prey was really fucking dope too. We could maybe gush about that later.
Very, very Star Trek movies.
Very Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
What did we think about Mariner using her smarts in this situation, and then the huge Nick Locarno reveal draft?
Okay, holy shit. I'm like computing that Romulan thing now.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, logic, bitch.
I like that. Like, that adds like an extra layer of like reflection to what's going on. I was kind of surprised when she beamed out, because that was like that moment where they're all together and we're gonna work together was like, for me, they were like, oh, he's gonna clean up the chase, which is like one of my most hated episode in in Star Trek. So I was like, oh, this is like the chase, but not being dumb, and I'm here for it. Like all, the main like humanoid species are here, and they're gonna work together, and there's no like intelligent design or genetics shenanigan and stuff like this. So I was like, let's go. When I realized she was like beamed into that like weird ship, the thing is that it reminded me so much of the 32nd century design. Like season 3 of Discovery, when she arrives in the station, we see like the station warden or whatever wakes up, like it's the same table, the same like minimalistic hell, and I was like, oh, I'm still believing in the like time travel thing. There's something going on with time travel stuff, because that ship, I know Locarno built it, but now that's because we learned that like at the end, like we see the specs, right?
Isn't it interesting that Nick Locarno likes building ships and Tom Paris likes building ships?
Okay, at least I'm here for the transporter clone thing. Like at least see if one series is gonna retcon this, it's going to be Lower Decks, okay?
Hire me, Lower Decks.
It's a parallel universe Tom Paris. Let's go. Let's like, why not? So maybe it's like a ship that he builds, with like different technology from here and there, but it doesn't explain the aesthetics. And that's the thing. You can like build a random ship with like a lot of like top-notch like Romulan transporters and stuff, but what does it look like this? And that's what I want to know. He also like wears there's something. There's like
a starburst.
Apparently, it's the Colvard Starburst.
That's the Colvard Starburst.
Yeah, the move.
The what?
The move that they did that got him expelled from the academy.
It's also on the Bird of Prey.
It is also on the Bird of Prey.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I couldn't see what it was. So I don't know. I think there's a deep story here, and I'm here for it. There's one episode left, so I hope it's gonna be crazy. I think it's gonna be epic. The thing is, I do think that Carol wanted Mariner away because that's what she wanted to avoid. It's not only like, oh, we're gonna put her off duty and she's gonna be like out, like she's just not gonna know the mission,
right? Because she thinks that they're gonna find him.
And she wants her to be far away from Nick Locarno. So she thinks that they're gonna find him, and she doesn't even want her daughter on the ship. So like, what is it? What is it that he's doing? And the other thing is like, there are like, so they're the ship disappearing, and we didn't really talk about it, but like they're also like these former Starfleet people were being targeted, and we don't know what triggered that search. Like, who was captured before them that they're like, there's a thing going on where these former Starfleet people are being like targeted. Like, who else has been targeted? Like and what, Seven is former Starfleet?
Well, she served aboard a Starfleet vessel, and she also was supposed to join Starfleet, but this is around the time where they said no.
Okay, so Seven, Beverly,
Thomas Riker,
and Nick Locarno. Like, that's a weird assemble of people. And
may I?
And yeah, and I want to know, like, we are missing the piece of the little piece of information that what made Starfleet be, these people are in trouble. Like, so where does it come from?
Where did they get that intel?
They're not in trouble. They're not in trouble. All four of these names matter a whole lot, including Nick, right? Nick wants all three of them because they all have a bone to pick with Starfleet. Every single one of them. Bev, one, Wes leaving because of a bad decision that Starfleet made. She blames Starfleet. She says that in Picard season 3. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I lost him. That's number 1. 7, shunned by Starfleet. Janeway goes to bat and says, let her join. She gets dismissed. Issue with Starfleet. Thomas Riker probably should not have been kept in Starfleet until he got like a huge psych eval, right? Instead, they're like, no, you could be Thomas Riker. We're going to send you to the Cairo, have a career. Bye. Joins the Maquis, gets left in a Cardassian fucking prison. We all assumed, I always held out hope, but we all assumed probably didn't make it, especially after the siege of Cardassia, where like almost like what? It was like 80% of the population get killed.
I mean, everybody died. Let's be honest. Like
Everybody fucking died.
It's like they're gone.
So he gets trapped there. No one ever tries to make a deal to get him out. He has an issue. All 3, and Nick obviously gets expelled from Starfleet Academy. They all have massive issues
So
with Starfleet.
they're not targeted. The things that Starfleet think that they may be at the root of like all these ships disappearing, but so far none of the ships would disappeared were Starfleet. So again, where does it come from?
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of non-Federation ship disappearing, right? And there's like this weird like ship that has been seen. Agamis has info. The Beta-Zeds have infos. The Betazoids, sorry, have infos. And like, and then Starfleet is like, find these 4 people because they're being targeted. Like, there's a big piece missing of like what's going on and how do we?
Yeah,
go
it's called
to, like,
part 2, Giraffe. We'll see it
Yeah.
next week.
I hope because it should be like, you know, in the storyline that should be now that we learn about this, so we can like see what's going on. You know, like
Yeah.
it's something that happened before that made Starfleet go after these 4 people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just to add to Bev again, and it's not just Wesley leaving, but at this point, we also know that Bev has an issue with how Starfleet handles like planets that are in need and not getting supplies that need, which is why she and Jack, when he's older, join the Mariposas. So, yeah. MC.
Well, again, I'm going to go from the bottom up. So first of all, I am 1000% making a Captain Cosmos costume, and I think I mentioned that in the first episode when she appeared, when she didn't have a name. But I mean, also like her kind of more the roughed up, been stuck on a planet for weeks look like really worked for me. So that's definitely going to happen. Maybe look for that in Las Vegas. Just saying, or possibly Long Island. It depends on how ambitious I am. And as for everything, the whole thing with Nick, I was, despite the fact that they had mentioned Cito, I was not expecting Nick Locarno. Like, just.
Even with his name on the list, you're not expecting to see him,
no,
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a
expected to
funny
see
joke.
him.
Oh, Nick Locarno, that fucking guy.
Yeah.
because it's so lower deck to like bring up that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like brought up 3 other people that are like, major Starfleet or Star Trek names. And, I wasn't expecting it. But I felt actually really dumb for not like really realizing it. And Giraffe, you mentioning, you can't get the idea of time travel out of your head. I think that's for very good reason, because I think that there is time travel involved in this somehow. I don't know how. I'm trying to figure it out. Like with the mention of Cito, I'm like, does Locarno want to go back and like, stop her death? But the thing is, I don't know if Locarno would do that, because Locarno is such a self-serving person. But then I was also thinking, but then I was also thinking maybe he wants to go back and correct the whole the first of duty incident, because his life has been destroyed by being drummed out of Starfleet. Because I can't remember who said it, that Locarno, I think it was you, Giraffe, that Carol might have been worried about Mariner and Nick interacting because Nick was, kind of a bad seed. But the thing is, at the Academy, he wasn't. At the Academy, he was like #1 shining star leader of Nova Squadron. And we could... Yeah, go ahead.
Even then, there were cracks in that facade and that, because as Boopy said in that, he was very charismatic in that, and he had a way of talking people into doing things that that were maybe beyond their capabilities. And
he was a manipulative piece of shit.
He engendered this trust in people and that to trust his decisions. And I think that was definitely another reason why she probably wouldn't want Mariner interacting with him.
Yeah. But I think, that's Boothby having an opinion based on, his years of experience. So I don't think a lot of people had that opinion. Carol might have that opinion now in hindsight, but I think back then, most people, saw Nick Locarno, great guy, was going to graduate top of his class. And look at him in this episode. Especially since, we keep on making jokes about him and Tom Paris, but look at Nick Locarno compared to Tom Paris. It's been a rough time. And he looks like not only has it been, maybe just the roughness has aged him, but maybe some extra time has aged him in that, he's been time traveling, and that's kind of contributed to him looking like this. So I don't know. My instinct is, rather than to save Sito, to save himself. But then I could also see him bringing up Sito's name to get Mariner to help him. Where it's if we stop this, then Sito won't be on the Enterprise to go on that mission. Yeah. So, I'm very interested to see where they go. I'll be very happy if I'm right in any one of these predictions. And probably going to dress up as Orion captain.
Yeah. Eric Summers in chat goes, for Locarno, it's been a long road. To which I say, don't get me started, because even though it's Locarno, the thing still looks like an NX-01 shuttlecraft, and he could have designed it because that thing was fucking minimalistic. I'm not letting it go until I get proven wrong. And I'm not joking. I really think
that could also involve time travel there, dude. So
sure could.
Give me a refit.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. I love that the base looks like the base on Endor, base on Endor. It's Endor.
We have so many Star Wars things to talk about.
There's a lot of Star Wars references in this. Let's be honest.
And then when they storm the Klingon ship, it's like them going into that base and putting explosives. Anyway, yeah. Going back, let's go past that Locarno thing. I don't know if there's going to be time travel involved. I never thought of it. What I thought of when I saw this is what we said earlier. Maybe that transmission was faked. She didn't die in that shuttlecraft, and maybe this is him being like, if there's someone who's gonna believe me that we can rescue Sito, it's gonna be Mariner. And the fact that he has the burst on his jacket and it's like a symbol for him, I feel like we could head that way. Ensign Sito's actually alive.
And what does Mariner loves to do in the holodeck? She's training to escape a Cardassian's prison.
Holy shit.
Just saying.
I mean, yes.
Goddamn.
All of that. I don't even know where to go from there, because now my head is just, yes, I want all of this.
Information.
I want all of this. He's 33, right? And he's graying. I feel like he's been trying to get people to believe him for years. I feel like it's been a toll on him. You can see the bags under his eyes. It's been a rough.
You know who believes him? Levy.
Fair. Yeah. I hope he goes the Tom Paris route and is actually a good guy. I think that would be cool, seeing his clone.
A redemption.
He hasn't. We've all pictured him as this
episode name. Sorry, now just being ridiculous.
We've all seen him as this
with
villain.
Locarno being an asshole.
Yeah. So
not everybody has to be redeemed.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't even know what else to go from there. Go Hawk.
Okay, I don't think he's after redemption. In the way like Sita was kind of seeking redemption. The fact that I miss the whole thing about the cold bird starburst, and that is a symbol, and that I've watched this thing twice on my phone, and that so I'll have to check that. That tells me that he is in this for himself, the way he was back in the academy, and that convincing all of them to do this, right? With this spectacular go out as he wanted to go out as a legend in the academy, and that instead he was drummed out in that. And it's
A different legend.
It's very revealing at the beginning in that when they're going through the list 7 of 9 and that Beverly Crusher and that Thomas Riker and that Nick Locarno and Tendi asks who he has been forgotten, and I think that has been his driving motivation for whatever it is, the hell it is he's doing in that. It's like
Tendi didn't know what a dog was.
That's fair.
Okay.
But also, I get it.
But also, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But she might not know what a dog was in that, but as far as like legends of Starfleet and that, Tendi would know everybody in that. Nobody, especially the younger generation, do not remember Nick Locarno in that, and I think that's pretty much his driving goal. As far as that ship, I am so confused now in that it's like it seemed like it was very powerful and like had tech from centuries beyond its capability in that, and yet those ships weren't disabled by it, and that those ships were disabled from within by the crews.
Yep, true.
Yep. So
It's weird that it went up like Boba Fett's ship right before it did its thing, right?
Yeah. Everything about this is weird. I don't know. Like, what does that ship actually do? And I do believe that there were some time travel aspects involved with it, and that because he has aged, much more so than like anybody else is like really should have aged by that point. If he's pretty much roughly the same age as Mariner, it doesn't show. So
Hawk. Black don't crack. She looks young. This is
Black don't crack, but I've also seen more than my fair share of 30-something-year-olds who are gray as a mother. So
my friend turned totally gray at 28, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I feel bad.
Same with me. I mean, Irish perish, I guess. I don't know. Black don't.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Oh my God, amazing.
But yeah, it's just this next episode is probably going to be the most anticipated of Lower Decks, and because the stakes are so high.
Most anticipated episode of Lower Decks ever. I will just say it. Yes,
so much.
Which we haven't seen.
No,
for everybody.
No.
We haven't seen it.
It's funny. On Monday when I was messaging Hawk, I was like, well, I don't have my screener, and I was like, that means there's a 2-parter, isn't there?
Yes.
And it was true. Oh my God.
We see you, like man.
You good, Hawk? I said everything I want to say when I interrupted Giraffe with the names. I just pay attention to those names because I actually think they're not. And listen, I could be dead wrong about this. Sorry, cough. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think that they're very important, and if it's not them that we see, it's going to be other familiar faces that have been spurned.
I don't even know what it means, so I can tell you how
spurned by Starfleet or burned by Starfleet.
Burned, yeah,
burned.
Both work.
Pay attention. Did I have Nick Locarno on my bingo card? No, Takako. I didn't have Nick Locarno on my bingo card. I don't think any of us had Nick Locarno on our bingo card. Congrats again, Mike McMahon. You're a fucking genius. Before we go to the B plot, yes, it's been an hour and a half, and we're just getting to the B plot.
And Eric, we have no idea if Frakes, Jerry Ryan, and Gates are going to be in the finale, but Mike McMahon at NYCC did indicate that there would be some surprises in these 2 episodes. Yeah. But maybe he was talking about Nick Locarno.
Yep.
Don't know.
Yep.
It's gonna be Data. Data's
it's gonna be Data. Data's it's Brent Spiner behind everything because it's always Brent Spiner. We have our final. Yes, this is your final Yosemite shuttle giveaway code word, and we've been saying it for the past like 25 minutes, so you better remember it. Who wants to read our final code word?
I'll do it.
Hit it, Eric.
Yeah.
The Yosemite. Oh my God. Shuttle giveaway final code word is Culvert Starburst. Yes, the Culvert Starburst. Deadline to get your stacks in.
Yeah, so people can stack their entries. So if they've already, yeah.
Get your stacks in by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Winner will be announced next week.
That's right. On the finale episode for one of these bad boys. It is freaking gorgeous. You could turn it over. You can crash it just like Mariner.
But maybe don't, because
But maybe don't. You could lie and say that there was a bee inside. Do what you will with it. You can, as always, email your answers to trivia@strangenewpod.com, DM the Strange New Pod 9000 account, or DM our Instagram, which some people have also been doing, which is confusing the hell out of me, but I look, so you're lucky. You'll never find a more wretched hive. Oh, sorry, I fucked up Obi-Wan. I can't believe I just fucked up Obi-Wan. Let me try again. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. I can't do Alec Guinness, and I should just not try. Yes, please.
You'll never find a more wretched hive of scholar. How's the line go?
Scum and villainy.
I want to know
what the hell is going on.
Okay, we're off the rails here. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
There it is. We fail miserably. That's okay. We got it. We're good. The B plot this week. We're going to a galaxy far, far away. That's right. It's Star Wars. It's from the look of the pirate planet, right, to Chris Westlake's score. The Mos Eisley Cantina being redressed as Muds, because that was the Mos Eisley Cantina. But the actual plot, like, Carol used some really awesome deception here, right? Playing dumb to get what she wants, and then having Billups cosplay as a bounty hunter. It was just epic. Like, Billups ends up getting that information they need on Locarno, who we learned obviously earlier behind the ship. Carol, Rutherford, Billups, Shax, they're all playing catch up though at the end of Star Wars Land, and see his plans for the weird NX-01 shuttle pod looking ship. Thoughts on the Star Wars B plot this week, Giraffe?
Oh yeah. So first of all, it made me think of a plot in a mission on Star Trek Online, but it's like Star Trek 5. You know, when you go like to that like forgotten planet.
Nimbus 3.
And yeah, number 3. Yeah, I don't know if you've done that one yet, but like you go into that bar and you need to find information. So I didn't like see Star Wars right away because I'm too Star Trek to see Star Wars in things. I just saw Nimbus 3 and that mission and Star Trek Online. It cracked me up.
God, that mission's awful. I hate that mission.
Right, with the like worm sand.
Oh, it's
like,
so dumb. I wanted to
whatever,
get the fuck off Nimbus 3. It was so annoying.
It's like so boring. Anyway. That like made me think of that mostly that, and then you were all like Star Wars. I was like, oh yeah, I can see it. I love the fact that most of them don't understand that people don't like Starfleet, and that cracks me up. Like, it's like, what? You don't like the Cubs? No, you come and you tell me what to do. I don't like that. And the fact that Carol is like, no, like, yeah, we need, like, she knows. And again, the growth of Carol in that season 4, like being the leader, being the person who's smart, like a real, like the Starfleet captain, you know, like, but with the street smarts. I'm like, I'm here for it. And sure enough, she has a plan. Like, she's not gullible. She's not idealistic. She knows how to do her job. And can I say that the commitment of like having Billups look hot is like, I love this. Like when he takes off and he's like all sweaty with like the hair everywhere. It's like, I see you, Lower Deck. I see you. Then he pots the hair again. So no, I like that B plot. I love the little like references to like the Balok from
Balok,
Mhm.
yeah,
Compromise Manover, which is one of my favorite episodes of TOS because it's so funny. So yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought again this was a good small B plot, you know, to make like it helps with the general plot. Carol, like we keep seeing like her arc go and we keep seeing her grow. I'm still confused about Rutherford because like I was not here last week, but like the week before, how kind of like behind he is and kind of like I didn't see him grow these last episodes. It's still like the good old Rutherford, like
Yeah.
since his big plot is just like being oh darn, you know, kinda. And you're like, okay.
That's how I felt about
when
Tendi last season, right? Like she kind of got
Yeah.
sidelined last season, then she got a lot this season. Now Rutherford's kind of sidelined this season.
And I mean, he's being replaced by Talin. I loved having Talin in like the main plot, but because it changed a little bit, you know. And I think that Rutherford is being locked into that goody two shoes kind of position. Like he sees all the good, you know. It's like I don't understand that people don't like Starfleet when like in the main plot they really needed somebody who had like
Yeah.
you know is their eye on the ball and like being like serious about it. So I don't know where it's going with Rutherford, but yeah, I love that B plot. Love the costume of Billups, like whatever, like bounty hunter, like mask. And yeah, I expected that it would be. I thought it was Nick Locarno at the beginning. Then I thought there was like
I
some
think a few
shenanigans
people
going
did.
on,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I thought maybe it was gonna be Shax, but Billups. He said yes,
Amazing.
here for it.
MC.
I also thought it was Nick Locarno for a while. And then I thought that Locarno was going to be behind the puppet. Like I thought it was going to be like a Wizard of Oz thing. But it turned out he had so many organs. As a humongous Star Wars fan, as somebody who actually used to identify more as a Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan, I was so happy by all of the Star Wars references in this. And the fact that they made it Muds. Like, do we finally now have like what happened to Mud? Like, did he, you know, kind of run away to like open up this cantina on this, you know, this far off world? Like, I'm kind of here for that. As for Carol's story, I really like this for her because I feel in season 1, we would have gotten like this whole, you know, this is my gang. Like, no, don't, you know, worry about the fact that we're in Starfleet uniforms. She would have done that straight. Like, it would not have been like an actual plan. I feel like over the past 4 seasons, she's grown into somebody who has kind of realized, you know, gotten a little, you know, more aware of the situation around her, or maybe we've just gotten to know her better and that, you know, but yeah, I do think like at the beginning of the show she would have done it straight, but here she definitely does not do it straight, and it is the whole thing with Billups.
Well, she
and
did that at the Starfleet party, right? She just tried to go in.
yeah, exactly.
Right? So.
Yeah. And I actually like I like that you mentioned that because I actually did think of that episode specifically when she was trying to get into the bar. But I have to say I agree with Giraffe when it comes to Rutherford. And I feel like this is something that has kind of plagued Rutherford's character since the beginning, except for last season when they had the plot line with, you know, Rutherford's past self and his amnesia and everything with Buenamigo. I never felt like they've ever really known what to do with Rutherford's character. They know he's a nice guy. They know everybody likes him. They know he has a good relationship with Shax. He has a good relationship with Billups, but they haven't really nailed exactly what his character is. And it bothers me because I like Rutherford. I want to see more from him, but it kind of doesn't surprise me. It feels like there's always that one character in Star Trek shows that just the writers really like having on the show, but are just befuddled as to what to do with them. And unfortunately, it seems to be Rutherford. yeah, other than that, I like this plot.
Don't you think that Eugene Cordero being a big Marvel shot now and like
I
being
mean, like,
in Loki means that maybe he's not that
But he was
available,
also
so
big.
they're like,
Well, okay, yeah, fair.
and they're cutting him like a little bit off because he's just not available. Like,
that's very possible. Like, I mean, if I
was wondering
recall correctly, Jack Quaid said that he hadn't met Eugene Cordero for like several years, like into doing Lower Decks. I mean, granted, there was a pandemic that happened, but yeah, Eugene Cordero is certainly one of the more booked and blessed of the cast. I guess Jack Quaid as well.
Quaid, yeah.
MC, you good?
I'm good.
Eric.
I really enjoyed this plot. Like everyone else has said, I love the Star Wars references. Again, I like MC. I'm a pretty equal Star Wars and Star Trek fan. Like I love them both. The cantina, I love that Billups was Bosch for this.
Boosh.
Boosh, Bosch.
I always thought it was Bosch too.
Yeah. So, and God knows I'm gonna make that fucking helmet. I will make his helmet.
It's so awesome.
Oh, you will.
Oh, I could
It's
see you
almost
making
like that.
yeah.
It's almost like that Destiny Titan helmet with the skull on it a little bit. Yeah.
For sure.
It makes me think of actually if you can remember the name of the episode, bless you, because I don't remember it. But in Discovery, when they arrive to Earth in the 32nd century and Earth is guarded, and there's this problem with that guy on the other moon, like that captain who's
People
trying
of
like
Earth.
to. Was trying to get like the resources. He wears a mask like this.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, and it's got like the red lights. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like a skull or something. Like, I mean, it's a weird looking thing, and you don't see his face, and you don't know if he's an alien or not. Anyway, that made me think of that.
I have to watch that episode again just to see. Maybe I can steal parts of it and put in the helmet. I love the Wizard of Oz mini plot.
People of Earth.
It is people.
It's like everything I love. It's like Star Wars, Wizard of Oz, all put in this little area where Captain Freeman shows how awesome she is and how evolved she is as a character. The cosplaying sweat from Billups after he takes off the helmet, I really felt after having worn that fucking Daft Punk helmet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. After wearing that Daft Punk helmet and the amount of sweat that came off my head after I took it off the first day with you guys, I was, oh my God, I feel this so much.
Side note, like the real Daft Punk helmets and suits and that, they have their own independent cooling.
Oh, I'm not shocked.
I've seen cosplayers do that kind of stuff.
I had the plans to do it. I just didn't have the time. I would have done it because the battery pack I bought was enough to power both. And I was like, fuck, I just didn't have the time. Other than that, this was fun. I like the idea that Harry Mudd did make a cantina. I feel like he may have gone the Quark way and franchised it to all the outer planets. Hawk.
I was actually really impressed with Carol this time. Not only hiding the plan from the people she was trying to get one over on that, but also from her own people. It's like she kind of took that disrespect not just for Starfleet but for the Cerritos kind of faces, being like a second tier kind of Starfleet ship and that, and she used that to her advantage this time around, which to me makes her like a genius. Billups.
Oh, that bouncer was also amazing. I didn't say that earlier.
Oh yeah,
he was
the bouncer was great. The B plot was the B plot. The Star Wars references were great. But since the A plot was like shined so much this week, and that this one didn't stand out as much for me in that, except for Carol.
Yeah.
Like that was just brilliant. It's like pretending what was that class she said she took? I was top in my class and that of kind of criminal lingo.
Yeah, it was criminal something.
Yeah.
It was good, or like sleazy underworld something. Yeah. Michael Kwan goes, "Wow, you guys are still going on. What's new?
What's new? It's a great episode.
What's new?
There's 5 of us.
There's 5 of us tonight too.
The penultimate episode. Like, come on.
If you think this is long, wait till next week. Holy shit, train. Jesus, that was loud.
I can hear it.
Yeah, right? It's wild. That thing is loud. B plot. Carol, amazing. That's all I have to say. Carol's fucking amazing. I loved it. I didn't see it coming, which is why I loved it. It was great. Awesome. 5 stars. Your final thoughts will go in the reverse order. Hawk.
This as a penultimate like I said, as a penultimate episode, this like raised all the stakes. I can't wait to see what they do next week. I really hope like they stick the landing. I know we've said that before. I feel like Mike McMahon's going to pull this off. I love this.
Eric,
Me.
right? Eric.
I cannot wait to see next week's episode because this episode was so good. There's so many possibilities and I can't wait to see what they do. I trust in the writers and everyone at Lower Decks.
Yep. MC.
I like finally getting the explanation as to what Mariner's deal is, and hopefully now she can properly move on from it, because I have definitely had my bone to pick with this storyline. So I think it's time to break the cycle. And I am very interested to know where things are going. Looking forward to Robert Duncan McNeil having a big part next week, because my God, it was so great to hear him as Nick Locarno. And I still think that there's still some surprises that are going to happen next week. And my God, I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed. Agreed. Giraffe.
Incredible episode. Like, it started very like slow and like, I don't know where it was going, but the tension built so well. I can't wait for next week. Imagine if it was the end of the season and that was the end of the season cliffhanger. It's a gorgeous episode. The animation was beautiful. The emotion was incredible. And I think this season has been so good. I can't believe that next week is our last episode and we are gonna have to wait a year.
I know.
after that.
I feel the same way.
Oh my God.
Eric Summers says this is turning out to be the best season of Lower Decks. I've been saying it since I think
Absolutely.
week 1. This is the best season of Lower Decks so far. Like the finale could
You
suck.
said it the day we saw it.
Yeah, the day we saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Toronto
Yeah.
before everybody else got to see it. Like honestly, the finale could blow. Like it could really be like the worst episode ever. And no.
You wish this.
No. Like I'm saying that as a way to say that could happen, and I would still call this the best season of Lower Decks ever. It's been that good. That being said, the finale won't suck because
No, I don't.
this
think it
show is
can.
amazing. This episode, I always like to judge them as a whole. This is a 2-parter, so I'll reserve like, is this an amazing episode? Because it is, but like, is it an amazing whole episode? We'll see next week. But Mariner's scene and her unlocking everything is probably the most emotional scene of this entire series and one of the best scenes, if not the best scene from this series so far. So don't jinx it. I don't think I can. Like this show's too fucking good to jinx it. Giraffe's like, don't you fucking dare. Let's do a quick Easter egg hunt. Who's got them?
Oh my God, a quick? I have like a list.
Go.
Okay. There's 247 once in the first like scene, the opening. It's like written 47, and then Tillin says 2.47 more something. So 247. So let's go. Suits from the Folian Web are like from the US. Well, reference to Jurassic Park. The title, The Inner Fight, is reference to the Inner Light. There's the Klingon theme. Oh, there are like some slight references to the Lower Decks episode when, for example, at the beginning, Powell is like wishing to get the promotion, and Torek says like, "You can't wish thing into existence," and then the bird of prey appears in that episode, and what his name says, "You wish this." So that made me laugh. There's a Gorn passing around. There's the little pig guy from the first episode of Lower Decks. He's drinking at the bar, the one with the giant spider.
Yep.
There's Balak from the Carbomite maneuver. There is a shot of the Vasquez rocks in the planet where they are. Yep. There's the tap dancing from Beverly. I told about that. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and one more thing. Tallinn didn't know that the Cerritos was the ship that she saved. And that's insane.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the Vulcans were
He's
like, "Are you in need of any further assistance?" And Carol's like, "Well, no. If you want to stick," and then they just leave, right? Like,
Yeah, and she was like, "You were in that battle," and that she is the direct reason they didn't get blown to bits, and none of them know it. And she just put the thing together, and that was an Easter egg in itself. So yeah, that's all I have.
Nice. Who else?
Okay, so I have a very, very small Easter egg, and that is that Mariner opens up to Ma'a, who is basically the Klingon equivalent of Boimler.
Why?
I don't know.
In Way Douche, he was the Boimler character, because you had Tallinn, who was Mariner, and Ma'a was very much the ambitious Boimler.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Who ends up being captain
Yeah,
because he
right.
murdered the captain,
Yeah.
and then being kicked out by the lower decks, which is like karma.
Also being willing to take on the shit tasks like cleaning up after
Exactly. He was just like, I'm going to impress the captain today. He was very much the Boimler.
Fair. All right. Any others? No. It's been said in the chat a lot. I think we mentioned it, but I'm just gonna mention it again. When Mariner was fighting Ma'a, just with the double punches, Kirk, like saying Kirk when she was fighting was hilarious. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but the Klingon that Ma'a says to Mariner, I think, was said by another Klingon in another Star Trek series, and I will never be able to pinpoint it. But if you know, tell me. I want to know.
Who knows Klingon?
Who knows Klingons?
I know people who know Klingon.
Tach tach lech. That's to be or not to be. Sorry. That's the extent of my Klingon.
In the original Klingon.
In the original Klingon.
Yeah.
TNG references abound. Thomas Riker lives in all caps. Let's fucking go. That's what I got. Anything else?
Yeah, and you also have Star Wars written here, and it's like that is so like vague, because they have references to every single original trilogy movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Like, it's just ridiculous. Like Jabba's palace, the bunker, that Mos Eisley. It's just the Star Wars. You see Dagobah. There's Star Wars everywhere. And I mean, I think you could even like this whole ending is very Empire like.
Oh, also
this
Klingons don't hug, a la Worf when Deanna and Riker hug him, and he's like, a Klingon or something like, respect personal boundaries. It's just don't.
They get booped on the nose.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Klingons do not hug. I love it. Let's get to, we have a fun fact from Don Ranger Power. Hello, welcome. John Dykstra did visual effects supervision for both the first Star Wars movie and Star Trek the Motion Picture. Yeah, ILM did a lot, I think, on motion picture. So nice little trivia there. Subspace to pull. Let's do it. Yes, some mailbag as well.
Hailing frequencies open.
Who's taking the to pull?
Eric, do you want to do it?
Yes.
Eric, do it. There's no
not?
fancy answers tonight because I didn't want to spoil anything because this should be seen fresh. So
Yeah. We asked Trek Twitter what they thought about the penultimate episode of Lower Deck Season 4, The Inner Fight, and this is what they had to say. 79% said amazing. 16% said good. 2% said okay. And 3% said yikes. 3%?
who hurt
It's
you?
the same.
Who hurt you?
3%
It's the
every
same
week.
person,
I know.
right? Yeah, it's the
Yep.
same person. So Eric went. We'll go in that order. So Hawk, can you continue? Can you read Chris's mailbag, please?
Sure. Chris wrote, Star Wars plus the Next Generation equals Lower Decks? It's definitely a recipe for full speed fun. But since we're having such a big finale, all I can say is mailbag to be continued.
Aha. Yes, indeed. I'll take Collins. Colin wrote, initially not impressed, so beyond ready for Mariner to get over herself. Everybody around her bending over backwards for her. Very frustrating for me. I was like, get on with it. However, I knew this was about the promotion. When she finally admitted what was behind all this, when she opened up and let her fears out, when she was real. That is my favorite phenomena in all of life, to examine what is really going on and see the truth. It is moving and true and cuts right to the heart of who we are. She won me over. 9 out of 10. Oh, that's very good. Nice, Colin. Yeah. Draft, can you take Ernesto's, please?
Ernesto wrote, the cold open was cute and necessary for showing mariners' dangerous behavior, if a bit extraneous. Definite alien xenomorph reference. So here we go again. Bex still bitching about her promotion, but at least now we know why. I could definitely see her and Cito hanging together. Mariner shows her leadership skills, choosing diplomacy over fighting.
Yeah.
But it's our girl Tandy, mistress of the winter constellations, that show her dominance. The B plot was cute. Loved the bar was named after Harry Mudd, and Captain Freeman is a master tactician. Finally, the reveal of Nicholas Locarno as Nicholas is full government noun.
He's in trouble, man.
Nicholas,
you get over here right now.
As the big bad, still odd how him and Tom Paris designed ships that look so much alike. Can't wait to see how they wrap this up. 9.7 Klingon honor killings.
Nice. MCQ, take CBFs, please.
CBF wrote, the cold open left me with only one thought. Your outpost scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Nice.
Oh my God, amazing. Amazing. Nice reference.
Yeah. The rest of the episode felt like a send-up of several 90s movies. Just thoroughly enjoyed this one. Mariner's character arc in this one, with the reveal that connects the show to the TNG episode Lower Decks, was brilliant and touching, with an emotional roller coaster this episode and this season has been. Cannot wait to see what's in store for our favorite Lower Deckers in the finale and next season. Really getting spoiled with so much good Trek this year. I rate it 5 out of 5 Riziki flutes.
Nice. Eric with Matt Harker's, please.
Matt Harker wrote, the Lower Decks writing team just showed how masterful they are with this episode. I literally clutched the pearls as soon as I heard the name Cito, and the hug moment between the Klingon Mariner afterwards left me with all the feels. Mariner's selfless act in the name of unity embodied Starfleet's ideas and honored her long ago fallen friend. Kneel before the mistress of the winter constellations. And, show of hands, who wants to get involved in kicking Romulan ass?
I like Romulans. So
that line cracked me up so much.
Yeah. And Hawk, take us home, please, with Tara's.
Alrighty. Tara wrote, a Gorn occasion and a Temerian walk into a bar. So is Locarno the actual bad guy, or has he just been recruited by the bad guys? And if they're not actually destroying ships, are they really bad guys anyway? I guess we'll find out next week. More venomous tremble lizards. 409, the inner fight. The limerick goes. Mariner's got a death wish, plus a really shitty attitude. The gang aims to protect her from her self-destructive aptitudes. Freeman seeks answers by slumming it, getting tricked by a Fazarian. Was it not that famous puppet? Locarno still equals trouble, now by orders of magnitude.
Nice. Well done, Tara. Before we go, we are just going to read some very quick and brief news. There's only 2 things, unless other people have more you can tell me before we go. Prodigy, wants and don't want. Saturday is Star Trek Prodigy Day. That's right. We are going to go live at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Get your mailbags in because they are a part of the show. We're going to mix them in with our wants and don't wants. The deadline to get your mailbags in, I think, is on the Discord. I'm not looking at it right now, so just go read. Do that. But yeah, we want your mailbags to be a part of that show, so get them in. We also will be revealing a surprise with a preview of that episode tomorrow. So get excited because we did something really cool today. Some people already know about that. And then right after this pod, join us for a late night double feature watch along. Late night if you're on the East Coast, like us fools, some of us fools. Directly following the pod, we're gonna watch The First Duty and Lower Decks. So be there for that. Patrons, it is late. We've gone 2 hours if you don't mind. You know who you are. We know that we love you. We cannot keep the lights on without you. You guys freaking rock. You'll have your name. You guys get your names read a lot. We love you. You guys rock. I said that 3 times now, which means I'm tired. So join us Saturday for Prodigy, and then next Thursday for the season finale of Lower Decks. It is episode 410. We will have a review. We will have our deep dive. We will be all wrong about our horrible theories, which are probably going to end up being right because it happens to one of us every season. It's not going to be me. So for MC, for Hawk.
Oh, no news for the rest of us.
Oh, no. Yeah, fuck. I said I was going to say it and I didn't. Do you have news?
I have a very short news. I'm going to be on the British podcast, I Quit Star Trek, and we're going to review The Chase.
I love I Quit Star Trek.
It's a
That's
podcast
awesome.
that reviews the worst episode of Star Trek, and yeah. So that's all. That's my
Great
news.
podcast. Okay, so I did lie. I didn't ask you guys if you had one. Does anybody else have news?
Just me.
No, just Giraffe. Cool.
Just you.
Just Giraffe. It's all right. We like your news. It's good news. So let me try that again. We're gonna go. It's late. We're gonna go watch some TNG. For MC, for Hawk, for Eric, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.